Kids or young people committing crimes isn't a new phenomenon. This episode will focus on one particular group of youths, with the youngest child being only 7 years old in the year 1901 in Chicago. The gang's leader was a 21-year-old guy named James Kolis, but his gang referred to him as Captain Jim. He directed the youths to commit crimes while he cashed in the stolen goods at the pawn shops. Young people were committing crimes all over the city at the time, robbing trains and stores and breaking into schools and other places, harassing people. That same year, the kids were jumping trains and making noise, and one particular incident where they stabbed a guy on a train between 22nd and 35th Street stops on the train. Are these young people crimes influenced by adults or what? So in Chicago, on the year 1901, dark Whacker Drive after midnight, two young boys, one ripping brass off a gas lamp, the other's on lookout. Adults walk by, some nod like it's normal. This wasn't kids playing. This was the Kolis boy gang. 9 boys, ages 7 to 12 years old. The youngest, only 7 years old. They stole lead pipes, brass, anything they could rip off of wagons and West Side houses. They brought it back to one man, Captain Jim Kolis, 21 years old. He ran the whole crew. Jim made sure they delivered. And if they came back empty-handed, he would punish them badly. That's how he kept control. These kids weren't thieves by choice. They were working for him every single night. Then it got darker. Jim decided the truant officer who kept dragging the boys to school had to go. He wanted to kill Francesca Caparelli. So he sent 2 of the boys, Ike Kahn and Soli Cohen. He sent them downtown to steal a revolver from a State Street store. And they got caught. But one person heard about the plan. It was a 13-year-old Katie Kahn, Ike's own sister. She was standing right there when Jim talked about the murder. She stayed up all night thinking about it. The next morning, she waited on the street for the policeman, and she told him everything. How the older leader, Captain Jim, would beat the kids for not getting enough stuff to sell, and then when she heard about the murder, she had to find authorities. The police moved fast. They rounded up the boys and Captain Jim. The kids confessed to months of robberies. Yeah, we did that one too. We did that one. Yeah, we did that too. And Jim denied the murder plot, but they hauled him into jail anyways. All 9 boys ended up locked up in the juvenile detention home at 233 Honorary Street. The city finally saw what was happening. These kids weren't born criminals. They were 7, 8, 9 years old. They're forced into it. The newspapers called them Fagans and thieves. But they were just boys, and nobody talks about them anymore. So in Chicago in 1901, hit a lot of ugly truths. The Kolis boy gang was one of them. Katie Kahn saved lives by speaking up. But the streets, they never really changed. At this time of early Chicago, a lot of adults used kids or young people to commit crimes. Sometimes the kids were small enough to sneak into windows or little openings. Here's just another example of a group of kids that were referred to as a gang with a leader. It just wasn't just a one-time thing. They committed a lot of crimes. You'll never hear about them besides here. That's it. I just think it was an interesting time. And it's interesting to hear about a gang of youths that were ran by a couple adults. Well, one adult, Captain Jim, they said it was their leader, and was teaching them the art of thievery. And then there was Ephraim Crute, a guy named Ephraim Crute, who bought the stuff from them, or took the stuff and then traded it in on his own. So there's a little bit of Chicago history. What happened in the year 1901 with some youths.